February 1995. I'm fired from my job as a telemarketer and got a job as picture framer. I love the job picture framing, something I'd never done before. It was an odd job at a place called Elyria Arts, which was not in Elyria, and it was in a barn behind a house with no sign on it. But it was great work. I loved doing the work. We framed pictures for libraries in 38 states. So these particular libraries, I guess you could go and take a picture out with your library card. So if you're having a party or something, you could get something to hang on your wall from the library. But the owner of the business lived next door, and his parents lived next door to him, and they had a farm. And part of my job as a picture framer was to go over to the farm on my lunch break and feed the horses, which was great. I love horses. Occasionally I'd have to bale hay. It was weird, but I loved picture framing. Anyway, let's get to the books. Not a lot this month. Very pulpy. It was a very pulp kind of month. As you can see, with the first book of February 1995, The Beasts of Tarzan by Edgar Rice Burroughs. This is the third Tarzan book. It takes place a year after the events of book 2, and Tarzan and Jane are married. They have Greystoke Manor. They have a son named Jack, and they're building an estate in Africa, and some of Tarzan's old nemesis, a couple of Russian guys, kidnap Jane and Jack and take them into the heart of Africa. And Tarzan, Lord Greystoke, goes all savage again and calls on his animal companions to save his wife and son. It's Tarzan. I love Tarzan. Yes, they can be problematic. They were written back in the early 1900s, but they're just fun, pulpy adventure stories. And I don't believe there's any overt racism, if you know what I mean. It's just, it's one of those things where it's like, that's just the way it was. And so it's not, I feel like I'm defending something bad, but I don't think that's the case. They're not outright racist. It's the way people saw the world back then, if that makes sense. I'm not saying it's right. I'm simply saying that's the way people saw things, and so that's the way these things were written, when dealing with Africa. Anyway, it's Tarzan. I like the books, and I understand that some of it's problematic. Let's move on. Book number 2 is The Night Runners by Joe R. Lansdale, one of his earliest books. Look at that amazing cover. Reading the back cover copy doesn't really tell you much of what the book's actually about, what goes on in it, and it's been so long I don't remember. But something horrible happens to a young woman named Becky, and there's a guy named Brian who becomes the leader of the Night Runners. And he blames Becky for whatever happened, and this has the God of the Razor, and it's crazy, great, bloody Joe R. Lansdale stuff. Another one that I'd like to reread sometime soon. Unfortunately, as I said, it just doesn't really tell me much about the plot. But does it matter? It's Joe Lansdale. You know it's going to be good. Then we have Samurai Cat Goes to the Movies by Mark E. Rodgers. This is a bunch of short stories that kind of tie together, and they're all movie parodies. And you have, I wish there was a table of contents, but there's not, so I just have to kind of look. The Terminationer is the first story. And then where was it? I just saw another one. The Magnificent Seven Samurai Cats. And I know I passed up where is it? The Yellow Brick Road Warrior. And then I believe the next one is Alienated, perhaps? Like caramba. Yes, Alienated. And then I think there's one more, which is It's a Terminated Life. So see, the Terminator comes back, if I'm not mistaken. Hilarious book, full of... maybe that's not the best. Let's see. Full of great illustrations. I'm trying to find a good one. I mean, they're all good, but one that will stand out. Let's go with this one, I guess. There you go. Great illustrations from Mark Rodgers. Love the Samurai Cat books. They are very, very funny. And this one, especially if you're a movie fan, is fantastic. If you can find these, I highly recommend. If you want to read something funny, Samurai Cat is great. Then we have just 2 more books. Only 5 books in February. Must have been that depression from getting fired and then being busy getting a new job. I don't know. But anyway, next up is Doctor Strange, Master of the Mystic Arts, Nightmare by William Roxler. I don't know how you say that. Another fantastic cover. This is book 7 in the Marvel novel series. And first Doctor Strange full-length novel. And it's Doctor Strange fighting Nightmare. You've got an evangelist, a prize fighter, an assassin, a starlet, all being affected by Nightmare. Doctor Strange has to go into the realm of nightmares and fight the guy. So, there you go. Bob Larkin cover. Love his work. Fun. Again, good, pulpy fun. I'm a huge fan of Doctor Strange. It was great to read some Doctor Strange prose. And then finally, last book is number 8 in the Marvel novel series, The Amazing Spider-Man in Crime Campaign, written by Paul Kupperberg. Another Bob Larkin cover. Not as exciting as the last one. But in this one, you've got a guy that's running for mayor of New York City, but Kingpin is pulling his strings, and Spider-Man has to save the guy, save the election, stop the Kingpin from taking over New York City, or destroying New York City. Not Spider-Man's first full-length novel, but still fun stuff. That's it. Just 5 books. So, let's see. Short video. I really don't have a question. I didn't think of anything ahead of time. Nothing's jumping out at me. Well, all right. How about this? How much information do you want from your back cover copy? Or the inside flap, if it's a hardback with a dust jacket. You know, the inside flap is where you're going to find that information typically. How much information do you want? Do you want just enough to whet your appetite? A little bit of what the plot is? Something like Night Runner that it names a couple characters. It tells you some crazy shit's happening, but it tells you really nothing about what the story's going to be. Or do you want even more information so you know going in what you're going to get? I want that middle of the road, typically. It wouldn't matter with Joe Lansdale because I'm going to buy whatever that dude's writing. But if it's someone I'm unfamiliar with or someone I'm on the fence with, I want to know a little bit about what I'm getting into. What's this book about? But you have to be careful. Years and years ago, and we'll get to it eventually in this list, I saw a book on the shelf, had a cool cover, read the back cover, sounded interesting, bought it, read it, and realized that there was something on the back cover that spoiled the book. It literally, in that back cover copy, told you the twist at the end of the book. So obviously that's too much information. Don't do that. Just give me enough to pique my interest. But what do you think? What are you looking for? Or do you even read the back cover copy? Do you just want something with a cool cover? Are you just going to buy something you've heard, with good word of mouth, or just an author you like? Let me know in the comments below. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, please put those in the comments below. Comments are open for spoilers. Just post a spoiler warning. We try to be polite here on my channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. All that YouTube stuff. If you'd care to follow me on other social media, my Twitter is @Ronan5757. My Instagram, where I post pictures of books, comic books, board games, and fuzzy animals, is ErikSmith5757. That's Eric with a K. ERIKSMITH5757. That's all I have for you this week. So until next week, read more books.